I'm gonna say it. The cartoon in the beginning, way better than the whole movie. Okay, so I don't like to be one person who just comes on and complains heavily about something. You know, when people make a project or whatever, I try to have the take that, like, you know what, this was somebody's vision, this was somebody's baby, somebody, you know, had this idea and they want to create it. But then there's also times where I'm like, should they? Who funded them this? You're right. Say what you will about this movie, you could call it Joker, but at the end of the day, I think this movie would have been way better if you would have called it something else other than Joker. You could have called it Le Fool. You could have called it Clown. You could have called it freaking Juggalo for all I care. Like, you could have called it anything other than Joker, because in my heart of hearts, I did not feel like this was a Joker movie. I just didn't. Sure, took place in Gotham. We had Harvey Dent. I mean, they even teased, like, there was a part towards the end, spoilers, right? There was a part towards the end where, like, building explodes. I mean, it alludes to the fact, oh, Harvey Dent's face is, like, burnt on one side, and then all the, like, it's like, oh, we left a little crumb there. Maybe we'll make a Harvey Dent movie, which, you know, you probably shouldn't. At this point, just don't. Please don't. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, the little crummies were there just to kind of give us something to hold on to for the future. But, like, I'm surprised they even made a second one of this movie. In fact, I was reading about, like, was it Todd Phillips, the director? How he said that he didn't want to make a second movie, but he said, I would do it depending on the numbers, which basically, like, in the words of Mr. Krabs, money, right? So, yeah. A good indicator on how I feel about a movie. Sometimes it's hard for me to, I guess, feel like I can critique a movie. And I know this about myself because I sometimes feel biased, because I would like to believe I know more about some of the source material. I haven't read every single comic or whatever or that's come out, but I know a little bit more than the average person. Now, actually, I made a joke about this in one of my other videos about I love taking my family, who for the most part are just average people, you know, to go see a lot of the movies that I like, because they can kind of help me better understand how to feel about this movie, because I can give you how I felt about a movie, but like a lot about it is based on, because I know the source material, I know where it comes from, and so sometimes maybe that might make me biased, right? You know, is something good because it follows the source material, or is it good because it actually is just good? So I went with some family, and one of my family members said that this movie was not what I thought it was going to be. And I told him straight on, it's like, it's going to be like, it's supposed to be like a musical or something like that, which we'll get into that in a minute. But they're like, yeah, I thought it was going to be a little bit more actiony or something like that. And I was like, well, you saw the first Joker. How come you thought, like, the first Joker, I wouldn't say was actiony, maybe a little bit more than this one, but like, in what your mind, he's like, I don't know, like, there's like, I just think of Joker and I just think of Batman. And I'm like, okay, well, that's the problem I think with this movie, is the fact that it is a DC movie. Because, not to say that the movie needs Batman, I mean, Batman's technically a child, I guess, in this standalone film. But there was another creator I was watching, and I can't remember the exact name of this creator. I'll try to do research and remember who it was. I'll put a picture here. I think it was this one. I think they had said something about like and I'm paraphrasing, so don't quote me or don't quote them, I guess. But I think they were paraphrasing about how some directors have talked about, like, I guess not necessarily following source material, you know, and then people have the critiques of like even some of the older Batman films. Like, let's go with the Dark Knight. How people say Dark Knight's a good movie, but maybe it's not a great adaptation. I think people have made that critique nowadays, years later. And maybe people are too scared to go a little more whimsical when it comes to Batman, because, you know, people fear what happened with these movies, I guess. And so that begs the question, at what point are we just using the IP just to be using the IP? Because everything about this movie I felt was like, you could take literally the word Joker and flip it. Like I said, you can name it something else. You can name it Juggalo for all I care. And I wouldn't even tie it with DC. I wouldn't tie it at all. There is nothing about this movie that really ties it to DC other than the fact that, like, you see the word Arkham, it takes place in Gotham, and Harvey Dent is in it. Like, as just a lawyer, though. But, like, he looks like any other lawyer I would see, like, from Suits or something. You know, I don't know. I don't watch Suits, so I don't know. Yeah, it's just, that's what I thought. And also, I'm kind of tired of, like, seeing the same Batman villains being represented. All we ever get is the Joker, Penguin, Catwoman. That's all I really keep ever seeing. You know what I mean? Two-Face. Like, where is Clayface? Where is Kite Man? Polka Dot Man? Where is, Bring back Mr. Freeze, please. I know people hated this movie, but like, man, I actually love this adaptation. I die on this hill of like, I love this adaptation of Mr. Freeze. Arnold, my man, prepare for your doom. Like, it was just so beautiful. But I was talking about the movie, and I could sit there and tell you the whole story about the movie, but I felt like it was kind of all over the place. I feel it was too like, I guess people have a pre-notion of musicals, and I felt that it could have went deeper. It was too scared to go further into the craziness of being a musical. I thought that if it went further into the musical realm, it would have actually been a way better movie, instead of just relying on like they should have did more original songs. And it actually took quite a while for the music to kick. Like, it took like a good, I think 30 minutes before I actually heard a musical number, and they could have went further with it. Joker is absolutely insane, you know. Like, yeah, I could see parts where like, oh, he's singing, and is this in his head or is this actually happening? They could have went further into that, and I would have loved to see it was be full blown Greatest Showman, Les Mis. I don't know. Give me Lin-Man, whatever his name is, from Moana or whatever. I don't know what he does. He did Encanto, like Hamilton. That guy. Give me him. I would have loved to see that. Like, actually go full into it. Not kind of like this. There were so many genres. Like, it was both at the core of it, kind of a love story, but also a court drama, but also a musical, but also like this take on like, we live in a society. Also, they did make the "you wouldn't get a" joke, so I thought that was kind of funny. Don't get me wrong. There are parts of the movie that I thoroughly was entertained. And here's the thing. I'll say this about most media I watch. Even if I didn't absolutely love it, there are parts about it I love. And as much as I'm making my critiques about it, I will tell you some things I enjoyed about this movie. Like, number one, at the core of it, I felt it was, well, not even the core of it maybe, but a good chunk of it was a love story. And I have said this before. I'm biased to that. I don't mind a good love story. And I will say this. If Lady Gaga, if Stephanie Germanotta came up to me and was like, you know what, I'm obsessed with you, I'm gonna burn down buildings for you, I will follow you to the ends of the earth, I would fold. Anyone would fold in this situation. Straight up. I would totally become even more crazier for this woman. I absolutely would, you know? It's Lady Gaga. Look at her. Oh my God. I say that one of the most beautiful things about this movie, that woman can sing. Oh my God. Her voice is so angelic. The way, so, you know, I've heard people talk about Lady Gaga's like comeback, you know, or whatever. But did she ever really leave? I mean, come on. Like, I'm still bopping Bad Romance to this day, you know, but like her whole, like, oh, she released a song with Bruno Mars, and then she's got this new album, like with Harley Quinn. It's basically, you know, kind of vibe of the movie. You know, even this movie like bombs. I will say this, best part of this movie, that woman can sing. And also, I'll give props to my man Joaquin. The man can act. Like, he can act. And the fact that he just looks so, like, sometimes there are parts of his performance that it did kind of make me uneasy. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of the point. You know, he's so frail and skinny, you know. And there are parts of this movie that I saw, like, okay, I remember, like, how his acting was in the first Joker. You know, it was like, yeah, he went there, you know. Those are the aspects of the movie that were really great. But, like, we could have took all those good parts of the movie, and it didn't have to be a Joker film. It could have been a totally different film. And it's like, what, our director here, it's almost like he was like, yeah, I made this movie called A Star Is Born. Or I think he produced it. My mistake. But he was like, I saw that. Lady Gaga, she sang great in that with Bradley Cooper. She sang great with Rocket Raccoon. What if I take that and had Joker in it? Millions in the box office, I guess. You know, like I said, if Lady Gaga did this for me, I would fold. I would, like any Joker, I would fold. I would. Arthur Fleck, like, yeah, I would be flocking to her. But nonetheless, her origin story as well, Harley Quinn. They call her Lee in the movie, Lee Quinn. I guess they kind of didn't. At first I was like, they kind of changed the origin story, but also they didn't. They did allude that, like, because you think she's an inmate, but she's not. She was actually just someone who just checked herself in and was actually studying psychiatry. So they kind of, like, didn't necessarily change her origin story. And there were parts of it, I didn't actually hate this Harley adaptation. Like, it did show parts of, like, you know, Harley Quinn, she's obsessed with Joker, right? She wants to just be with him regardless of how, like, you know, insane he is, you know? And we did see aspect of that. But then towards the end of it, when, like, Arthur's like, you know what, like, I'm kind of tired. Like, maybe I did put on this Joker persona and I got all this attention, and it was kind of nice because all my life no one really paid attention to me. But, like, in the day, I'm kind of tired of it. And he kind of like, I give up the Joker persona. Like, I'm just tired. I want it all to end. And that's when, like, Harley flips on him and she's like, you know, bye. And this is the point of the movie where, like, here's the thing. My skill for movies is not, it just depends on how I feel about something. If a movie made me feel, and that did make me feel, it was like, dang, like, he, like, it's kind of like in the first movie, he, like, falls in love with the girl. It turns out it was on his head. But this one, like, from what I know, I don't think they don't really flip it on you, but like they tease that Harley was gonna kind of betray him at some point, but I also didn't kind of expect it when it happened. But that did make me feel, it's like, dang, like, because like I said, I'm a sucker for a little bad romance, right? And that's what it was. It was a bad romance. But there was this is a side lip. There was a part where when Harley, I guess, is like kind of breaking up with Arthur, that she starts singing, and he was just like, "Can you just stop singing for a second and just talk to me?" And that's kind of how I felt about towards the end of the movie. I'm like, I Lady Gaga, I know you can sing, but like I'm getting a little tired of the singing. But her voice is angelic, and there is one musical scene, like some of the musical scenes I felt like didn't even need to be there, but there was one in particular, and this is the only part of the movie that I felt like, okay, here we going. We're like an hour in the movie, and it was like a scene where it's like a court trial, and it's the first time that in the movie that Arthur like really like, okay, you know what? The Joker's back. I'm the Joker, baby. Let's go, right? He's bringing the Joker persona back. He does that, and it has this musical number where like Lady Gaga's like dancing in the courtroom. You know, she's using the blood of like what I think Harvey Dent as like, you know, makeup, and then like he's like killing all the jurors, and then he just takes a hammer like a clown picking up a big wacky squishy hammer and bangs the judge on the head, and it's very Joker-esque. And then it goes, and then like for up to this point, Joaquin Phoenix, I wasn't too feeling his voice, but in this like moment, like he's singing all grabby, like, "I'm the Joker, baby," you know, like he's really getting into it. He's really like grooving and vibing, and then like eventually we get into a musical number where like Lady Gaga's like singing like this kind of choirist like church gospel vibe, and I'm like, oh, I'm feeling this. Like this is what I wanted in this. Like if we're going to musical, this is musical. Let's lean more into this whimsical wackiness. I mean, we're talking about the Joker. He pulls out guns that say bang. I want whimsical is what I'm saying. I want quirky. I want it to be not like other girls or whatever, other guys. I need it to be wacky. I want it to be wacky. I mean, the most wacky part of the movie was they referenced the Looney Tunes, That's All Folks, so many dang times. Because we're Warner Brothers. That's an IP we have as well. Like I said, they put a cartoon in the beginning, which was kind of fun. But when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is so cool. And there's a part where he's in the courtroom, and he's speaking with like that Savannah accent. He's like, I'll rest the jury in the case. You know, I'll rest my case. I do declare. Like he's speaking with that cadence, and it's so funny. And it's like, this just sounds like a crazy joke. That sounds like something I would see maybe a Joker do. But then after that, he's like, I'm tired of being Joker, which fine, I guess, you know, that's a plot you can go. And then, you know, this is how I thought it was going to end. This is maybe a little stereotypical of how it ended, how I think it was going to end. I thought it was going to end. So, you know, trial goes on, and you know, they declare, so the whole movie, like, you're basically going, the whole premise of the movie is Joker's going on trial for like the people he killed in the first movie, right? And then it's a whole thing of like, some people think he should be free because like they see him more as like a revolutionist of, oh, let's, you know, bring down like the hierarchies of town of Gotham, and like the let's all people from the bottom rise up. That's kind of like how they're making him like, oh, like this figure, like a martyr, I don't know, like something like that. And then you have the same people like, no, he killed people, like, you know, that's kind of the premise. But like when they are deciding he's guilty or not, like madness ensues, you know, and someone blows up the courthouse. They never really say who blows up the courthouse. I think it was just the Joker, you know, fans or whatever. And so he escapes, and so I thought this is the part where like maybe him and Harley will ride off in the sunset, never to be heard again. And then it's kind of like, oh, we know eventually they become Harley and the Joker. But no, she's like, I don't, you know, I can't be with you because like, you're not the Joker anymore. You gave up on being the Joker because you said you're just tired of it. So that part I kind of get. But like I said, to call Arthur Fleck in this movie Joker, it's not because, and I named the title, I gave the title of this video for a reason, and we'll get to that. So he eventually, you know, kind of just, you know, he's crushed. He's heartbroken. And this is the part where I did feel something. I was like, dang, like if we took this love story and like just maybe isolated it a little bit, that'd be a pretty good movie myself. I would watch that. You know, I'd, you know, get a glass of wine and, you know, some charcuterie, and we'll watch that movie, you know, with the boys, girls night, whatever, you know. So we'll watch that. But we can call it Bad Romance. That would be a great time. That's what I would call the movie. Yeah. So, and then eventually he gets back to like the Arkham, you know, it's not Arkham, whatever. And so the whole movie, they're kind of like teasing this guy who's just been like eyeing Arthur the whole movie. You don't really see him a whole lot, but at the end of the movie he tells Joker a joke, Arthur, and stabs him. And then I kind of had a feeling this was gonna happen, but in a way, I guess they kind of like, I'm not saying 100% sermon, but they basically, it's almost like they give the origin story to Heath Ledger's Joker, because this person starts like stabbing Arthur, and then he just starts insanely laughing, and then like they don't show it, but he definitely does the, you want to know how I got these scars? Like he gave himself the scars, you know, he did that. And it's almost like, okay, maybe this person actually is the one who becomes Joker, you know, which a Joker is born, you know, le Joker. But yeah, this new Joker, I guess, just straight up kills Arthur, and that's it. Like the Joker was not. There was never a Joker. The Joker was just a name. You know, it was an illusion. You know, I guess that kind of meta flips on his head. But how I would do it differently if I was a director, you know, I would have. There's another character in this movie that Arthur kisses, and you know, he kisses like everyone in this movie. He's like, you get a kiss, you get a kiss. He just did that to everybody. But there's another character in this movie who kind of stuck around Joker a little bit more. I think if they flip those roles a little bit, and like throughout the movie, they tease that this guy is like really idolizing Joker a bit more, and then to the point where he like, I want to become the Joker and take the mantle. I think that would have been a bit better. Then again, I didn't go to film school, so what do I know? I'm just someone making videos in the bedroom. I digress. Yeah, I mean, I watched the whole movie for nothing and he just dies. But sometimes that's just life, I guess. Which, you know, has significance since they used that song in the movie, and which this ending version was a very, very beautiful one. I'm telling you, she can sing. But there's like not a whole lot else I can say about this movie. I've been kind of just going on about it. Like I literally couldn't sleep. I had to like get this out because it's like I'm gonna wait till tomorrow to record it because I don't even feel like I said to myself I probably can record like 5 minutes of this, but no, I guess there was more I had to say about it. But if I had to rate the movie, not the worst movie I saw this year, like I said, there are some demon cons of the movie, but this wasn't a chief. I would encourage people to go see it. Actually, you know what? You don't have to. You know, honestly. In a way, it's like those like We Live in Society original Joker fans. Man, I just like, I hope you're doing okay at this point. I'll never forget though when I found a copy of the Joker on the side of a road when I was walking one day in the middle of the countryside. It was in a Redbox case, and that's how I got Joker without paying for it. It was a great time in my life. It's a dream. But I rate this movie like 7.5 juggalos out of maybe 2 to the power of 4 Chuckles the Clowns. Yeah, I guess at this point, you know, superhero movies or comic movies are, you know, I feel like we're getting on the rise of like more video game movies at this point. I think comic movies are slowly dying a little bit. I think video games are rising slightly. When Sonic drop, it's gonna be a banger is all I'm saying. Juice out. Also, who sponsored this movie? Marlboro, Camel, like Newport's, like who like for every scene somebody was smoking. You got Octavius here smoking a joint too. I mean not a joint, but like, you know, everyone was smoking a cig. Like I get we're like in the 70s, right? But like, oh my god, you know, I think it's cool. You know, you have a scene where it's like, can I have a cigarette? You know, you hit it up, you smoke it up. That's cool. But every scene, oh my god, like I don't know how many times I saw a dang cigarette. Like I get it. People smoked back then. They all had lung cancer. I get it. I don't need any more smoke. I've put out the fires. I was saying it got real. I was just like seriously, who is sponsoring this? Marlboro? Like Jesus Christ.